and welcome to another episode of Creatives Panoply on Savvy Writers TV. I am Folakemi. Today we'll be discussing the topic how to evoke emotions in your writing. Yes, but I won't be the one giving you the tips and the tricks you need to know. Yes, I have a guest with me in the house. She's a beautiful young lady. When you see her, I'm sure you'll make the judgment yourself. So you know how we do it, guys. We'll be right back after this short break. Stay with us. Welcome back, guys. So I told you I had with me a guest. Yes, she's a beautiful young lady, and her name is Oluwakemi Sola. Am I right?
No Sola.
Okay, she said it's Oluwakemi. Oluwakemi Makinde. You're welcome.
Thank you.
So, can you briefly introduce yourself to us?
Okay, she has mentioned my name, Oluwakemi Makinde, a graduate of English and Literature from the University of Ibadan, and I've been writing professionally for the past 2-3 years and doing editing services too.
University of Ibadan. I'm sure all the UI students are like, oh, wow.
Yeah,
okay, so the topic is how to evoke emotions in your writing. But let's first establish this ground. Evoking emotions, it's more of is it particular to a type of writing or genre of writing, or it's something that is generalistic and can be applied to all type of writing?
Yes, I think every writer should approach their work with emotion. So though emotive writing, right, is particular mostly to creative writing and creative nonfiction. But you can also use it in news writing, in articles, especially in marketing articles that you want to use to appeal to the audience's emotions.
Okay, so the reason why I asked it's business writing, for instance, academic writing. So those form of writing are the serious type of writing.
And they have a format.
And there's no flexibility, kind of. But at the same time, do you think it's emotion is something that should, even if it's a little.
Because nobody wants to read something that is completely emotionless. But for the forms of writing like business writing or academic writing, there's no room for too much wordplay. So it's better to just keep it to the minimum, but still make sure that your writing has life in it.
Okay, so when it comes to evoking emotion, anything emotions actually, when it comes to writing, there's this general principle most writers, let me not assume all writers know, that's the principle of show, don't tell. So when you are using this technique, can you be overly descriptive? So you're trying to show, this is this is Kemi. I want to describe who Kemi is. Can I go overboard describing, because I don't want to say it that this is Kemi, but I want to describe what Kemi is to you?
Definitely, it's there's a thin line between trying to not tell and showing and then becoming overly wordy. Okay. So when you're trying to show, of course, you will use more words, you will use more descriptions, but it is a thing to be overly descriptive and then become verbose.
Okay.
But you need to keep your descriptions to what you need to say so that you don't bore out the client or the readers in a bid to
I say impress them.
Yes. Some people would now begin to use, like, trying to sound like Wole Soyinka, but they forget that Wole Soyinka has perfected his art over a period of years. Okay.
So where would I know when to draw the line?
To stop.
Because I'm like, I'm trying to describe. I know how I would use more words than telling you this is Kemi.
Yes.
So where would I know that this is becoming a little bit too much than the usual?
For me, when I'm writing, most of my writing is usually instinctive.
Okay.
So when my instincts tell me, it's just like the way you cook soup, and you know when it is enough.
Yoruba,
Yes.
not Yorubas actually, Nigerians.
Not only Yoruba,
just
Africans in
put-
general, we don't do measurements of the spices or the seasonings you want to put in your soup. But your instinct tells you that the amount of salt you've put in this food is enough. The amount of palm oil is enough.
Okay.
I think it kind of applies to writing too, because when you have begun to describe, when you're reading it back to yourself, something tells you that this word is not necessary. This one is redundant. And then apart from your instinct, I think reviews also help. That is why it is advisable for writers to never not give their writing to other people to read.
Yeah.
So other people will give you feedback and let you know what is good and what flies and what you should rewrite. Then I think you should also read other people's writings. I think that is what builds your instincts better, because you know what good writing is and you know what bad writing is.
Yeah.
And so when you're replicating that in your writing, it helps you to know when to stop and when to add more spice.
Okay, so you mentioned storytelling. So let me ask you in particular now, this is a personal question. If you want to write a story, now I'm talking about fiction, so what's the process like? Do you ideate your idea and flesh it out before writing? Or do you have a particular emotion you want to evoke, like the end goal? Okay, this is what I want my writing to look like. This is the emotion. I want people to read it and they should feel sad, they should feel hungry, they should feel happy. Like, do you have that before writing, or it's as you go along with the process, the flow of writing? Like you said you go with your instinct.
Yes.
So do you have a particular emotions you want to draw out from your writing before writing now? Before writing.
Yes. So let me clarify. Storytelling does not necessarily, it's not limited to fiction. So when I want to write, for example, a scenario, maybe I want to write about two people fighting, I try to be in the fight. And when my imagination is not enough at that point, I could probably watch a movie or something that will help my mind to see what I want to write. So I probably watch something or look at where people are fighting and I tell what I have seen in my story.
So before writing, you actually know, okay, this is the emotion you want to write.
Exactly.
So let's go to non-fiction writing. That's articles, let's say, yeah. So there is also an end goal your readers are reading, you want to achieve. Does this same principle also apply?
Most times it does. But when you are writing articles, you should know that this is not fiction.
Okay.
And you cannot be too emotive because it is non-fiction. But there's something called creative non-fiction too, and you need to bring all the elements of creativity you have into it. So I think the same instincts, the same methods, strategies work for these things. So if I want to appeal to an audience, maybe I want to sell a product, there's an end goal. I want to appeal to their emotions. So I look into the heart of the product and use that product itself to appeal to the audience.
Since we are already talking about that you already gave us a tip on how to evoke emotion, that's you going back to watch a movie or read something that will put you. So just give us add a few more tips to that on how to evoke emotions in your writing.
Okay, so it's not only about watching a movie. That is just to help my imagination.
Okay.
Now, if you want to create an emotive piece, what you need to do, you need to fall in love with words first, because words are what you will use to convey those emotions you want to show or tell.
Okay.
So, emotive words are mostly strong verbs, adjectives, adverbs. Then you can also bring in other spices, figurative speech, figures of speech like metaphors, ironies, similes.
Okay.
Those are the things that help your writing to be more emotive.
Okay. So what other things do you do personally as a writer?
I play with all these things I've mentioned.
Okay, so case in days where you are not in the mood, okay, you're writing a story about maybe someone fighting, for instance, so you want to evoke that anger, but you are happy, like you don't feel angry. Like, how do you write such piece?
Oh, so I think writing is a little bit like acting.
Oh, wow.
If I was an actor, and probably, let's say I'm normally a happy person, I want to play the part of a depressed person.
Okay.
I have to bring myself into that state of mind. And the same thing goes with writing. And that is why I think writers, especially fiction writers, are very eccentric, kind of. Or for me, when I'm writing, I like my solitude, so that any thing I want to display, I will display it in the privacy of So I think is you have to bring yourself to that state of mind, because you need to. And then acting is different from writing in that for writing you have to play several characters, because you are the writer and you are writing all those different parts. But for an actor, you have to play the parts that you've been given.
Yeah,
so you need to know how to bring yourself from one state of mind to the other. Enter your characters to know what they feel, be who they are, and replicate what you think they must be feeling. If you're confused and you don't know how to display those or to tell those emotions, you can ask other people. Okay. You can ask for opinions, like, okay, create scenarios for people and let them help you to convey those emotions that you want to show.
Like, I'm a writer and I'm listening to that. I'm like, oh yeah. So you're writing about an angry bio. You're writing about a happy Kemi. You're writing, sorry, I'm using your name so much. You're writing about, let's say, Kunle that is sad. Like, you have to feel those, like splitting yourself in different places at once. And that's work. That's
why writing is really hard. But you do it.
So how do you know if you've actually achieved your aim? How do you know if sometimes you can be too familiar with your writing.
Yes.
So how do you know that, okay, yes, this piece is beautiful? How do you know you've actually achieved your aim of evoking emotion?
That's why, like you said, you are very correct when you said that we become too familiar with our text. You've been looking at it for the number of hours you've been writing it. You are too close to it, so you may not see that you have written something. So the first step I take is, most times I distance myself from that text. Either I let it sit for some time, a day, 2 days, and then return to it, and then you read it like a reader, not like the writer.
Okay.
And that is why you should also expose your writing to review. There's no matter how good you think you are, your writing must be subjected to critique. Let other people look at it. Let them read it. Let them give you feedback. That is why people have editors. They have reviewers. They have beta readers and all that. So those are the people that give you feedback and let you know, okay, this place, I didn't feel what you were trying to project here. What were you trying to say here? We didn't understand what you were trying to convey here. This place, I think it was really good, but maybe you could touch here or here. So I feel like you know that you have answered the question that you were trying to answer by writing. By first of all, distancing yourself from the text and exposing yourself to reviews.
Okay, now you're talking about reviews. What if the person I'm giving my text to review is actually not, let me not say a professional, not in line, or doesn't really understand the context of the text? Won't there be like a form of bias in the review?
I guess that's why there are some really bad text out there, because probably they didn't give the text. And I should also mention that it is possible for people not to be honest with you.
That's another thing.
When they give you reviews. And as I said, That is why there are badly written articles, badly written books, badly reviewed, and you see bad reviews. And that's why I think we are angry with Nollywood sometimes. We're like, didn't they show people this movie before they produced it and all that?
Yeah.
So I think that when you are subjecting your work to review, you should, what's the word? You should know the people that you're giving your work to. Know that, okay, this person is a professional, or this person knows this work, this person knows how to review, this person knows how to edit. Not everybody is a professional. Not everybody that will get access to that piece of writing is a professional. So you should also, while you're giving your work to professionals to review, you should also give it to people who are not really professionals, who are just ordinary readers, who want to read it for entertainment, who want to read it for a particular purpose. You understand? Because if a professional reviews your work and gives you honest feedback, and a layman picks it up and they do not get your point or your message, there's a conflict of interest there, because everybody should be able to access your writing. Even if you're writing for a set field, those people in that, outside that field rather, should also be able to, at least to an extent, understand you.
Okay, wow, that's very true. So thank you so much. But before we wrap up this program, give a parting shot, just a word of advice. People that are like, oh yeah, my writing is, people are picking and it's too boring, it's too like,
Okay.
So just give a word of advice.
I would say, I know that writing could be an inborn skill, an inborn talent, but you could also build on it, you could learn it. So be consistent, keep writing, and you'll be fine.
Okay. She has taught us how to evoke emotions in our writing. But before we go, we usually do one thing. We ask one question. Can you give us 2 lines, like 2 beautiful lines describing you?
Oh.
And you have to tell us something people don't know about you. Not the dress you're wearing, not the color of your attire. No. Like something people don't know about you.
Okay.
You want to show us and not tell us.
When I watch movies or read a book, I can't stop myself from feeling what the characters are feeling. And sometimes I refuse to eat my food just because I'm sad for the characters.
Wow, so that's very interesting. Like the movies, the books actually achieve the aim, they evoke emotions in you. But do you love Korean movies?
I do.
Okay. So what other types?
movies.
Like what other types?
I love anything as long as it gets to me.
You don't have a preference, like every
Not
movie?
particularly, but I just don't like horror.
You don't like horror movies?
I don't.
Oh, wow. I love horror movies too. Yes. Because I know the vampires can come to get me. So thank you so much for that. Thank you. So guys, we've come to the end of this episode of Creatives Panoply. Yes, if you don't know how to evoke emotions, like I'm sure you've learned 1 or 2 things from this episode of Creatives Panoply. But if you've not subscribed to our channel, please don't forget to do that. Also click the bell icon on your screen to get more notifications as we upload more content. And also don't forget to give us a thumbs up. And for all our subscribers, we appreciate you. You can join in the discussion below. Yes, you can comment. Just share your views about the topic, what you feel, what you've done, or what you do. Till next time, bye.